Good. Yeah, that's good. I'm ready to go. Well, good morning and welcome everyone. This is the March the 18th, 2025 West Grade Council meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. It's 9 a.m. And under number 2 is we'd like to take a moment of reflection. If everyone could rise, please do so. Okay, thank you. Under item number 3 is declaration of interest. Does any council member have anything to declare at this time? Of course, we know if something should arise during the meeting, we can declare at that time. And before we continue, Ms. Noble, could you just give an overview and an update on how people participating virtually could attend, please, or participate if you will?
Thank you. And through you, Deputy Mayor Hudson. At any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Grade Communications and I will attempt to assist you.
Thank you. So that takes us to item number 4 on today's, number 4 on today's agenda, delegations and presentations. Under 4.1, delegation from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, 2023-2024 Durham Creek floodplain mapping project. We do have Matt and Eric with us today. Who's going to do the presentation? I know who it was. I just looking which one's going to do it. So you just take the podium there and welcome. And just we'll have you state your name for the record. And you got to push the gray button. And the floor is yours.
My name is Matt Armstrong. I'm the Manager of Environmental Planning and Regulations at Saugeen Conservation. Thanks so much to Council and to staff for inviting us here to talk about the Durham floodplain mapping, Durham Creek floodplain mapping project that took place 2022 to 2024, really. We have some slides, I believe. You guys have access to those in your agendas? Yeah. Okay.
For anybody that's online or virtually, we're just waiting to get some slides up for the SPCA presentation. So we're with you.
What was that?
Countdown.
Oh.
System here. So you go. Did you go yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, we're that run that included, and they're just about 5 o'clock actually. I think driving in the late heat, but yeah, there's a lot of water moving around certainly. Hot spot for watching.
You see the update on the block repairs.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So just some background on the mapping project, which was made possible through funding from Natural Resources Canada, so federal funding, though it was administered by the province, so maybe a bit of confusion there. Um, the idea behind the FIMP funding, and FIMP stands for Flood Hazard Identification and Mapping Program, is that the feds will match 50%, up to 50% of a project. And so we partnered with various municipalities throughout the watershed, including West Grey, to take on what turned out to be 3 different floodplain mapping projects. For West Grey, we focused on Durham Creek, and Durham Creek was identified as a priority area for West Grey. It was a water course that many of you in the room, I'm sure, are familiar with. Though we'd never had engineered floodplain mapping available for this feature, and it flows through a fairly intensely developed portion of Durham. And we really wanted some better information to understand the kind of impacts that these developments, these homes, these residents would see in the event of a regulatory flood. We can do, yeah, please do. And we can actually go to the next slide as well. For those that maybe aren't so familiar with Durham Creek, it flows through the east side of Durham, and it outlets into the Saugeen River just below the lower dam near South Street, for those familiar. Like I said, no previous engineered floodplain mapping for Durham Creek. Through the RFP process, DM Wills was successful as the engineer to create a hydrologic and hydraulic model for Durham Creek. And they also had to take into consideration the effects of the Saugeen River, because in the event of a flood, should the dike breach, which is up by the upper dam, a lot of that flow will come through the corridor that is Durham Creek. Next slide. What you're seeing here are some hydraulic model results. On the left-hand side, it's assuming the dike is in place, and you can see the blue areas for the Saugeen River. The dark blue means deeper waters, deeper depths, greater velocities, and you also see where Durham Creek is. And then the hydraulic model results on the right show far more water in the event of a spill from the Saugeen River. Next slide, please. So through the FIMP process, there's requirement for public outreach. 2 public information centers were held. The first really introducing the project to the residents of West Grey, and the second to show some draft mapping results of where, in the event of a regulatory flood, we would expect flooding to reach. Next slide. One of the outputs as a result of the FIMP project was some floodplain mapping. And you'll see on here that I focused in on the area that is Durham Creek. And we're going to see in the next map is the actual outputs that DM Wills created for the project. So next slide. So you're going to see some blue and some red coloring here. They're both part of the floodplain. The blue areas are the areas where flooding is, again, deeper and where flooding is faster, and therefore less suitable for development. In fact, our regulation generally prohibits development in these blue areas. The red areas are areas where the flooding is less deep, less fast, and development can proceed if certain conditions are put in place, for example, flood proofing. It was interesting to see the modeling results, to see how large the floodplain actually is associated with this relatively small water course, and how many residences would be impacted in the event of a regulatory flood. Next slide. The report followed with a few recommendations for possible next steps for the Conservation Authority and for West Grey to consider. Those were that we should be updating the floodplain mapping for the Saugeen River. This project focused on Durham Creek. They had to do some modeling for the Saugeen River to get an accurate depiction of flooding within that corridor. However, they also see the need for some updated floodplain mapping for the Saugeen River itself, which hasn't been done since the 1970s, I believe. Also, for the 2-zone floodplain planning policies and development approvals processes for both Durham Creek and Saugeen River, with some updates to some zoning to come. The second one is given the potential significant impacts of a failure of the dike at the Durham Upper Dam, Conservation Authority and West Gray should consider the development of an emergency preparedness and response plan for the structure. So after the report was completed, the Conservation Authority began regulating development proposals and alteration proposals within the Durham Creek area in accordance with this new hazard information. And it's been in place now for close to a year. And yeah, it's been a pretty good process, good relationship with the engineers, and we feel it's produced a high quality product for the municipality. Final slide, just thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt, for the extensive report that took a couple runs at it to read that whole file that you sent in there for sure. And it just, it does show the importance of the SPCA and partnership with the municipality and the ongoing work that in our watershed that continues to go on. So this was really for clarity and just some knowledge. So is anybody in council have any questions for Matt? Was here or possibly, well, stick with Matt, Eric, or we'll keep you off the hot seat today. Go ahead, Councilor Hudson.
Yeah, thanks. Interesting to see the report. A lot of technical terms in there for sure. But given that the creek goes through the town of Durham, and there's a lot of residents that have a creek flow right through their backyard, very close to housing and whatnot. Like, I was sort of hoping from this report that we get some feel for what we could do to alleviate some of our flooding issues. But this seems to be, I guess we're looking at the mapping and the restricted areas and whatnot. But as far as going forward, is there anything we can do to try to help the less chance of flooding? Because as soon as we get a heavy rain, then we've got flooding on some of our streets. So I guess where I'm coming from is it'd be nice to know what are some steps that we could do to try to prevent some of this flooding, given now that we have all this mapping. Is that something that we can look forward from the Conservation Authority, or do we have to go to another engineering firm to find out what we need to do to try to help us out?
Just before you respond, Matt, your mic went off, so thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So we've already had some discussions with West Gray staff about opportunities to alleviate storm water issues within the Durham Creek corridor. That can range from anything from increasing culvert sizes, cleaning out some of the Durham Creek watercourse itself too. In the event of a regulatory flood, so a flood of significant magnitude, there's still going to be a significant flood risk to those residents. But for the smaller storm events, there are some structural things that can be done. And we look forward to working with municipal staff to figure out how that can be done without impacting people upstream or downstream.
Anything, any follow-up? No? Questions, Councilor or Council? No. Questions down here? Councilor Shay, go ahead, please.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear that we're working with y'all to sort of help address those sort of smaller flood events. When you talk about, did you call it a regulatory flood?
That's correct. Yes.
So that's a flood like sort of thing would happen every 30 years?
No. So the regulatory flood is defined by either the 1 in 100 year flood or the Hurricane Hazel level flood event, whichever is larger. In this case, it's the Hurricane Hazel level flood event. So it could happen any year, certainly. The odds of it happening, low, but it is what the province has mandated that we need to regulate to. So it's a very significant flood event that we haven't seen here anyways.
Okay, but we have had bigger floods than just simple storm events.
Certainly.
So how do we prepare for those? Like you say, we can prepare for simple storm events by increasing culverts and cleaning them out. Is there anything we can do about those 1 in 20 year floods?
Well, the 1 in 20 year floods, I'm not sure what kind of magnitude that would produce, but certainly for the larger floods, even beyond the 1 in 20 year, there's very little that you can do except for when new development is proposed, ensure that those folks are flood proofing to an elevation where the flood does come, that they're not going to be significantly impacted. For the folks that are presently developed, any new proposals for them to put an addition on or to tear down and rebuild, we would have them flood-proof to their required standards so that in the event of a flood, that they would be okay.
Okay, thanks. I don't know if I dreamed this or what, but it seems to me sometime in the last week, I saw a headline that said, all dams fail. You're talking about the failure of the berm. How likely is that? Should we be being proactive about that, or this was sort of news to me?
Sure. Well, anything that's engineered will fail if it's not maintained properly. And the best science goes into designing these things in the first place. No engineer will say it's 100% fail safe or foolproof. So I'm a bit out of my league when I'm talking about infrastructure maintenance. That's something that our water resources staff and perhaps Eric could give a little more insight into. But we like to prepare for the worst. And so the province requires that we regulate behind these flooding infrastructure items like dikes, dams, assuming that they're not there. So that if the worst does happen, the folks that have undertaken development in the time that our regulation has been in place will be protected from that hazard. I don't have a good understanding of the maintenance schedule that the dikes are under, how often and the level to which they are reviewed to ensure that they're performing adequately. So I can't answer that question.
That's fair, but is that maintenance conducted by the Saugeen Valley or by West Grey?
I'll defer to Eric perhaps for that question, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you for the question.
And welcome, Mr. Downing. Just going to get you to state your name for the record, please, for those that are attending virtually. So go ahead, the floor is yours.
Eric Downing, General Manager, Secretary Treasurer, Saugeen Conservation. Thank you for the question. And yes, we are overseeing that specific dike in our regular maintenance and inspection routine. And it, along with other pieces of infrastructure in West Grey and throughout the watershed, we do have a regular inspection and reporting program that, yeah, we're making sure that we're keeping up with what's necessary for the maintenance of this aging infrastructure, as we're all contending with, of course, throughout the watershed and other member municipalities. Currently, we were going to endeavor in Paisley, for instance. They have dikes as well, bigger ones, and they were going to get some work done in along with that maintenance and inspection schedule. So currently, that dike is in good standing as far as our inspection reports would indicate, is from what I can recall. But yes, as Matt indicated, in the a policy approach to sort of setting zoning policy, regulatory policy, it is required by the province that you assume the worst, basically. And in the event of a failure, who needs to be protected, what developments need to be shaped a certain way to make sure that they have the best chance of withstanding that hazard coming down the river. That's in place. As our report recommended as well, and as the mapping engineers indicated, it may be a good idea for West Grey to have an emergency plan in place, though, in the event of some sort of an issue at the dike for all the existing development, because of course this area is mostly already existing dwellings, homes, not a lot of new development to come. So that's one way West Grey can prepare for the unlikely instance where there is a breach there. Of course, this mapping is set by the province that it has to at a minimum deal with Hurricane Hazel. I'm not sure I think that dike could maybe address a 100-year event. In the event then of something bigger than the 100-year coming, it'll go over the dike. And there's nothing magical to say that the 100 or the Hazel is the most we'll ever see. It could be 100-year plus a millimeter. It could be Hazel plus a millimeter, and that would be enough to go over the dike. And it would be prudent, as the engineer doing the mapping indicated, to have a plan in place in the unlikely event that happens for the municipality and in concert with Saugeen.
The area marked in red on the map, which is the smaller risk zone, that's not where a dike failure would be contained to. The dike failure would expand beyond that, I presume.
Well, get the map up. So couple pages there.
Page 7, it's about 5 pages before the end of the agenda attachment.
Well, no, I'm not sure what to, anyway, we're just gonna get a map up here, so just so we can, anybody that is virtual knows what we're talking about there, to identify the map. And I'd like to see the, whatever which one it is too. And I think, Eric, you were looking for the, there, now I will give you the mic back.
Okay, this mapping is showing the worst case scenario under both, so with the dike in and with the dike out. That's right. So everywhere you're seeing there is an absolute worst case scenario. And it's actually a previous slide that showed what happens with the dikes in versus the dikes out. If we can go up a few more slides. There's a side-by-side aerial map. We keep going up. Again, there we go. See on the right-hand side, you see there's more blue essentially, and that's with the dike out versus on the left-hand side. The blue is lighter in color, meaning less depth, less velocity, but also the extent is less as well. So what we had to do was, okay, we've got a worst case scenario on the right, still a difficult situation on the left, and we've had to take the worst of both to regulate, to make sure we're covered under both instances.
I don't think we have any development planned in this area. But if someone was proposing something or even an addition, they would have to get approval from you and you would be referencing this.
That's correct. Most of the corridor itself where the watercourse is, it's already developed as you've indicated, residential development. There are some spill areas to the south where there is some new development proposed. And yes, a permit's required from us in order to proceed with a building development. And we would make sure that that development is flood proof to the right elevation. Usually it means building up so that if there is water that's coming down, they're going to be high and dry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Councilor Townsend, go please.
Thank you. Just curious, as you know, say the Durham Creek wanders through the town of Durham and through backyards and across lots and everything now. So whose, I guess, responsibility is the maintenance of that creek? Does it fall with the property owner? Does it fall with the municipality? I mean, you guys have standards and set standards and whatnot, what you'd like to see. But as far as if we get into, you know, I can understand replacing culverts and stuff like that will probably fall under the municipality because it's road allowance type of thing. But if it's going through somebody's backyard and it needs to be dredged or cleaned out and stuff like that, is that the property owner is to maintain it to a certain standard, or how's that looked after?
Thank you for the question. It's the landowner's responsibility to apply for permission before they do any work. If in this case, if the water course is going through municipal infrastructure within a road allowance, typically, then it's the municipality that needs to get that permission. But if it's in someone's backyard and they want to clean out the water course, if they want to put in a bridge, then it's their responsibility to get permissions that are necessary before they do the work.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I can provide a little bit more. It's an idea, but one we've seen not work very well in urban cross sections like this before. But in the event that there is a larger drainage plan comes together, then it does indicate there are upgrades or some modifications needed to the channel that may be on some on municipal land, some on private land. What we've seen proposed in other situations, and as council may understand, this can be a sensitive idea, but where a municipal drain is proposed, then that gives the municipality some ability and need to sort of work the whole system. Comes at great cost to everybody on the system, but it can lead to a larger plan for that channel, a larger breadth of work allowed to a continuous bit of channel such as this, and it could be an avenue forward that is not used very often in urban cross sections, obviously usually in more agricultural settings when there's a petition for drainage because somebody doesn't have an outlet. This, you know, has been looked at in that way before. I did want to highlight though, tying us back to our floodplain mapping and why it was the interest of West Grey in part when the idea and the funding came available was that with now the modeling and the data and the cross sections, now West Grey has the data and the ability to figure out what is happening or not on this channel and move forward with some design ideas. I know initially talking to municipal staff, probably in your own road allowances where you already own the portions of this water course to see what can be done in there. And then as studies progress, if that isn't enough, you know, you can look to other avenues such as more broad drainage plans and things like that. But yes, I think we have provided the modeling over to West Grey now, as it is your project, in essence, your information, that it was a result of this project, not only the mapping, but the data as well, so that you can begin to understand, okay, yeah, in a 2-year event, we got houses going under. Why, and how can we fix that? Okay, the regional, the 100, yeah, we can't help it, but we're seeing 2-3 times a year this thing breaking its banks and rain events, and we need to look into that. And you have now the data to do so because of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Final comment, please? Did you get 10 minutes? We're gonna move on, please, go.
That's interesting. So you're saying it's on us to take this data and this report and turn it into some sort of action at the municipal level, like the establishment of a municipal drain. And you earlier said that you were working with West Grey staff. Were you working on that, or were you just working on sort of some general maintenance things, and the ball is in our court to sort of pick up take the lead on this municipal drain project?
Through you, yeah, it is. We were a review entity. We have the information on the water course now as a part of our involvement with the project, overseeing and managing the project. But if there is works proposed for whatever reason, a new road, a new bridge, a new drainage plan, that is then the municipality, the counties, somebody else's interest, they can bring that to us, and we are a review entity to make sure that no new harm comes of it. You know, we don't move the water course around and you know, yeah, 10 people get an improvement, but this one person really gets, you know, put in a hazardous situation. This is our role as a conservation authority in the typical permitting sense, and why Matt and his section is more involved from now the backside, the review side of it. That the municipality makes the proposal, comes up with a plan of what they would like to do moving forward. We are the review entity, but are interested to guide it as it goes along, so that you aren't set up to fail when you try to get our permit. But it is, yeah, the municipalities and your staff sort of lead at this point with regards to improvements in the system.
So I'm just wondering if I could ask the CAO if we might get a brief summary from Public Works at some point about what we as a municipality are going to do with this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair to council. We are actually working on this now. So this floodplain plain mapping is informing all of the work that is being done. For instance, this year in the budget, we have $50,000. We've talked about the Sadler Street project before. That is now, as we're looking at what we might be doing for that, and we're working with SVCA on it. It's too early to confirm yet if a municipal drain is the preferred solution, but we are looking at the outlet and the creek and how this all applies. So as those reports and those pieces of the project come forward, we will absolutely update council. And certainly this is a foundational piece. A lot of what was in the report, I mean, there's been a lot of reference in the report to the upper dam. We know what we've been dealing with Frazzle Ice this winter. We have applied for WECI funding for phase 2 and 3 EAs of the assessment on the upper dam. So all of this will inform that. And as those pieces come forward, we will bring you up to date.
Thank you. Any other closing comments? Well, thanks, gentlemen. That was great. And I do think, just follow up, I think it's a significant start to what we're doing moving forward. So a lot of information here. So enjoy your sunny afternoon, and I guess you're going out to deliver the water watershed. So thanks. Take care. Okay, that completes our delegation. That moves us to number 5. I don't, it's on public meetings. I don't believe there's any public meetings today. Confirmed by the clerk, there is none. Item number 6 is comment period. Does anybody have any comments today? Is anybody virtually, Ms. Noble? No. We here in attendance to want to speak to? No. Okay, good. Okay, item number 7 is adoption of minutes. And we can do this under one motion. We have 7.1 minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 4th, 2025. And 7.2 is the minutes of the special council meeting held on March 11th, 2025. So I'd be looking for a mover, please, by Councilor Forrester. And the seconder, please, Councilor Hutchinson. Thank you. Comments or questions? Errors, omissions? Okay, seeing none. Call the vote. All those in favor, just raise your hand, please. See all council members are in favor, none opposed. That motion has carried. Item number 8 is committee and board reports. 8.1 highlights of the Grey County Council meeting held on February 27, 2025. And we're looking for a motion to receive these, I believe, clerk. Yes. Okay. So get somebody to receive these, make a motion to receive them, please. Councilor Shea, thank you, sir. Seconder, Councilor Townsend. Do you have any comments or questions on the minutes for from that report? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the board. All those in favor then to receive? See all council members are in favor, there's none opposed. That too has carried. Okay, item number 9, correspondence. 9.1, correspondence received for direction is required. We'll go to 9.1.1. It's Grey County Poverty Task Force, REA request for council presentation. Basically what we have here is they're asking for a member of council to participate in that. So we have an option. Somebody can volunteer, we can do an election, or we can just simply receive and just carry on. Correct, clerk? So what we'll do is we'll open that up. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this task force? Or is anybody interested in? Go ahead, Councillor Shea.
I think having a member on the task force also involves the council recognizing the task force as a committee. That's how I understand it from the way the letter is phrased. So we would have a formal relationship, a more formal relationship than we already have. Is that right, clerk? So it's two things. We're establishing a formal relationship and possibly appointing a representative.
Go ahead.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. So the way this would work then is if council were to appoint someone formally, by virtue of that, it would formally recognize the Grey Bruce Poverty Task Force as a committee that West Grey has a more formalized relationship with. So we wouldn't have to do it in two separate parts. Just by virtue of appointing someone, we would cover off those pieces.
So I was obliged to step down from the library board because I have a regular conflict with the meeting schedule. So I'm available and would put myself forward as a potential representative if council was interested in having me do that.
But thank you for stepping up. Is anybody else interested in putting their name forward? Okay, so I guess we could just declare. How much is this? Right, but we just, yeah, so if there's nobody else. Yeah, there's nobody else. All right, so I'll be looking now for a motion to appoint Councillor Shea to the Bruce Grey Poverty Task Force. So we'll look for somebody who got put a motion forward. Mr. Forrest, we'll get the language different from the clerk for it. And a seconder, please, to get it. Mr. Townsend, thank you. Would anybody like to hear the actual language from the clerk so you know what you voted, what you put forward, Councillor Sheriff Forster? Go ahead, clerk.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, that in consideration of correspondence received from the Bruce Grey Poverty Task Force respecting a request to appoint a council member to the task force, council appoints Councillor Shea to the Bruce Grey Poverty Task Force for the remainder of the 2022-2026 term of council.
Are we all clear on that? Yeah, Councillor Shea? Okay, thank you for put your name for it. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? So all members of council in favor, there's none opposed, that motion has carried. So what will be the next steps then? Will he just, will they reach out to him or will you just take over from and get that connection done?
So through you, Deputy Mayor, what I will do following the meeting is send formal correspondence to the Bruce Gray Poverty Task Force advising them that Councillor Shea has been appointed to the committee for the duration of for the remainder of this term of council, and will provide Councillor Shea's email address to the appropriate individuals there who will likely reach out to him directly.
Thank you, Clerk. So that means we should, thank you. All right, so that completes 9.1.1. Now we're on to 9.2, which is other correspondence information package. Is there any information there? Anybody? I don't believe anybody's requested anything pulled from my knowledge. Seeing none, anybody have any comments, questions on these? No, so we just receive those or we just, next motion to receive these? Okay. Yeah. All right, so I'll be looking for a motion to receive these, please. Councillor Hutchinson, thank you. Councillor Noon, gonna second that? Okay. Call the vote, all those in favor, please. So all members of council are in favor, there's none opposed, that motion to receive has two carried. Takes us to item number 10, staff reports. 10.1, manager planning and development. 10.1.1, ZA 06-2024 site plan control, DJ Land. So basically, we're gonna be looking for a motion here. I'm just gonna move down, and that was to recommendation, move that down. Reconciliation, isn't it? Okay, so we're looking for a motion, but we're going to, this file here, so we're looking for a motion. This one here is the recommendation, consideration staff report. Council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw to implement site plan control as it relates to the land zone R3-519 high density residential exception. So we're looking for a motion on that, please. Somebody move that. Councillor Hutchinson, thank you, sir. And seconder, please get it on the floor. So Councillor Hutchinson, Councillor Shea. Okay, Brooke, are you taking care of this one? Okay, go ahead, sir.
So through you, Deputy Mayor, this report is being brought forward because a little while back, council will remember that a zoning amendment was done with respect to ZA 06-2024 for DJ Land. At the time that zoning bylaw was brought forward, there was a provision in the bylaw that was the intent of that section was to designate the lands as being a site plan control area. Unfortunately, the way the bylaw was written, there was a typographical error in that. So this is just meant to correct that issue and designate the specific zone as being site plan control area.
Just housekeeping basically is what we're doing here. Everyone clear on that? Okay, so we do have a move to second, so we'll call the vote. All those in favor, please just raise your hands. See all members of council in favor, none opposed, so that is carried. 10.2, Director of Infrastructure and Public Works. 10.2.1, there we go, is IPW-2025-07-2024 Drinking Water Systems Annual Summary Report. So we won't be looking for a motion for this one, it's just a report. And I see our director has arrived. Director, the floor is yours if you're ready to take it. And welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, council. What you have in front of you are the annual drinking water reports for both Durham and Neustadt. They're very similar to what you've seen in previous years. Good news is they operate both facilities. Durham and Neustadt operated within provincial legislation, the drinking water permit and the license. There were no operational issues encountered. What is unique about 2024 is the volume of water used to refill the Neustadt water tower after it was refurbished. But other than that, there's no surprises. It's straightforward and very pleased with how operations went in 2024.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great report to read. Anybody have any comments or questions on the report? Again, this is our annual. Councillor Hutchinson, I will always look to the right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just under the financial implications, we talked about, the Neustadt Tower and the Durham and future possibilities for Durham. I think it sounds like we do need to do some major work on our towers. First of all, our water towers in Durham. And I see that we did apply for under the Enabling Water System Fund, and we weren't successful in trying to help out with our new well and the pump house and so on. I'm hoping that in the future, we will continue to ask for funding to help with those, but it sounds like is the water tower the next most demanding project that we have on the list there?
Through your worship, it's kind of a complicated answer. So in an ideal world, yes, but when funding applications come out, you have to closely look at the funding application and see what project most closely fits the application. So there's little value in trying to make a project fit as opposed to looking at your projects and figuring out which one best fits. So that's kind of the complication of funding. But yes, we are constantly looking for opportunities.
MCL, go ahead, please.
Thank you. And if I may add to council, we are working as a team to look at bringing forward 10-year capital forecasts for all the sectors of our business, very similar to what we did for the bridge project. And so that council then has informed opportunities to consider all the sectors of our business and start to look at what those priorities are. Obviously, in forecasting, especially in capital forecasting, it's never carved in stone. What we bring forward may change the following year, but it will give council an opportunity to assess all of the sectors of our business so you have a better understanding of what's coming down the pipe, water pipe.
Yeah. I like that. But not only that, it's nice to share that education component with the municipality and the community, that so they know what we're into and the complications and the impact of no money out there coming our way. So, we're gonna juggling balls. We gotta sort of keep moving around. Any other comments or questions? So again, we don't need a motion on this one. I believe it's just to receive. Thank you, Director Aiken. We just.
You're welcome.
I didn't think we knew one, but we will, then I will take a mover, please, to receive it, please. Councilor Hutchinson, seconded by Councilor New. Everyone's clear on that, just to receive the report. Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please. See all members of council in favor. There's none opposed, so that motion has carried. Mr. A, is it? Councilor Hutchinson. Okay, we'll go ahead. Yeah.
It has to do with the reserve capacity, the Durham Water Works. And it looked at all the different developments and where we are. I'm just curious with our, I didn't see in there where it was included the police station and the housing around the police station and the new ambulance station too, ambulance bay. It didn't seem to be in there. So maybe I missed it, but I'm just curious, is that not in our projections for future water usage? I'm on page, I don't know, page something. Oh, I guess it's a separate file. Table 1, 2025 reserve capacity assessment, Durham Water Works. Yes.
So when you go through the table, near the bottom, there is a spot where we've done some infilling. And that's essentially, it's accounted for there in the infilling. 10 Roman numeral 4. Okay.
Thank you. I was wondering where that came in. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have completed that. Well, moved, seconded, passed. So that will take us to item number 10.3 on today's agenda, and Director of Finance Treasurer. 10.3.1 Development Charges Bylaw Extension. Director Mighton, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. We're currently working through with the consultants on a new development charges study, but we have got a little bit behind. So in order to ensure our current bylaw, the development charges don't expire, we need to do a new bylaw just to change that expiry date or remove the expiry date. And that will give us time to complete the study, give the notices, because there's public meeting notices that need to happen once we get our capital components done to them. So there's still a lot of work to be done and public meetings to be had. So this just allows us to continue under the changes under the Development Charges Act. We are now permitted to remove that expiry date. So that's the essence of the report.
Thank you, Director Mike. Is everyone clear on that? So the recommendation is that in consideration of staff report development charges bylaw extension, council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to amend development charges bylaw number 31-2020 to repeal sections 7 and 7.1. And I believe that's on our today's agenda as well. So if I can get a mover to move that recommendation, Councilor Forrester. Thank you. And seconded by Councilor Noon. Thank you. Okay. Call the vote. All those in favor of the recommendation, see all members of council are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. Okay. 10.4 is the next item on today's agenda, which is Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. 10.4.1 Statement of 2024 Council and Board Member Remuneration and Expenses. And Clerk Controller, sir, go ahead, please.
Thank you. And through you, Deputy Mayor, this is an annual report that's brought forward. The Municipal Act requires municipalities to report on remuneration and expenses paid to members of council and boards. Council members were allocated $1,500 for conference registration. Expenses related to conferences such as meals, mileage, and accommodations are not included in this $1,500 allotment. The total remuneration and expenses paid to council in 2024 is $222,622.10. And the total remuneration and expenses paid to members of local boards in 2024 is $9,501.39. So just looking for a motion to receive this report, and then following this report with council's expenses will be posted on West Grey's website.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions on the report? Okay, probably looking for a mover to support the recommendation. Again, clerk just read that out. Anybody like to have that read? We can read it again. Councilor Noon, are you going to move that? Thank you very much. And seconded by Councilor Townsend. Comments or questions on the recommendation? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor can raise their hand. See all members of council are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. Thank you, clerk. Number 11, questions. Question period. And questions? Right up in here. Okay. And number 12. Motions for which notice was previously given. If there are no motions that I'm aware of, well, thank you, clerk. Notice is a motion under number 13. Anybody have any notice motions? I don't believe I know of any. Seeing none. Announcements. Number 14. Anybody have any announcements? Councilor Forrester, thank you. Go ahead.
On Sunday, I attended the Newstead Firefighters Association chicken dinner. Was very good turnout. I believe they sold 520 tickets.
Good for them. Any other announcements? Other than springs here and the rivers are flowing? Huh? No, spring. I got the car yesterday. Spring's here. That's it. Okay, we'll see no other announcements. Then we will move on from that to item 15, closed session. We do not have a closed session today on the agenda. Obviously, number 16, we don't have to report anything because we're not coming out of closed. And that takes us to number 17. We have 3 bylaws on the agenda today, and I believe we can move or declare or do all 3 at once. Okay. So bylaw number 2025-021 under 17.1. 17.2 is bylaw number 2025-022. And the third one is 17.3, bylaw number 2025-023. So I'll be looking for a mover to move all the bylaws together. Councillor Townsend, thank you, sir. Mr. Seconder, please. Councillor Forrester. Everyone clear on the three bylaws? I will call the vote. All those in favor? See all members of council are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. Wow. Okay. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to item number 18, and that's adjournment. And I will declare that we have completed all items on today's agenda. It is 9:49 a.m. and I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.